Well, Happy New Year to everyone. Happy January. Hope you're celebrating it. You celebrated it with friends and family. And we have a few new faces on here. I love it. I see Lindsay Speaker. Is that right? Hi.
Hello.
I'd love for you to
Hi,
introduce yourself.
this is my son Graham.
Yes, hello.
How'd you guys hear about Autism Tree?
So we moved to San Diego this past summer, and when we got here, I started looking around for support groups for Graham that involved autism or ADHD. And I just was Googling and I came across Autism Tree. And so this is our first event to try with you guys, but Graham is 15 and he's started to learn how to drive.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So this event caught my eye.
Yeah, well, you joined at the right time. Welcome.
Thanks, thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. And Lupe I'm Rebecca Barron for all of those who are new. I'm the Director of Operations at Autism Tree. And then I typically host these with our Executive Director, Dana Hoff, who is spending time with one of our families today, one of our Autism Tree grandmas, Vicki Barbalak. She's in Las Vegas and she's been touring all over. If you haven't heard of her, she's an amazing comedian who is featured on America's Got Talent. And so Dana's with her today, spending some time. But Lupe Miranda is our program coordinator, and she'll be helping me host today and kicking off our 20th anniversary year. It's 2023. We were founded 20 years ago, and I'll speak a little bit more about that a little later, but I'm going to pass it off to Lupe and she'll do a quick update and some Zoom rules.
Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. These are a couple of Zoom rules. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. We do recommend speaker view for presentation. Video sharing is optional, but we love seeing everyone's wonderful faces. And please type all questions or comments into the chat. We love seeing our attendees interacting with the presenter. And then if any questions, we'll have a short Q&A at the end if you want to ask our guest speaker today questions directly. And if anything, I'll be watching the chat and I can ask those questions too as well. If this is a quick Autism Tree update. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Like Rebecca said, last year we coordinated 214 events. We offer 19 programs, 13 are in person, 3 are hybrid, and 3 are virtual. For this month, we have 8 events coming up and we have more to come. For this week, we have 2 events. One is a USC basketball game tomorrow at 7 p.m. And then our first adaptive dance class for ages 5 to 10. It's going to be on Saturday. And up to date, we have 490 impact videos on our YouTube channel today. So subscribe. We have 310 subscribers and we love all of them. And we have 102 Lunch and Learns uploaded to our YouTube channel. And this is our 103rd one. So we're so excited to be kicking off our Lunch and Learn with Andrew today. And then I'll pass it on to Rebecca, our Director of Operations, who will introduce our guest speaker today.
Thank you, Lupe. So you can go to the next slide. So thank you everyone for joining. As I said before, Autism Tree is celebrating our 20th anniversary year this year. We were founded in 2003 by 2 parents, and we've built a great, amazing community since then. And we were so fortunate to be able to create a 20th anniversary video in 2000 or last year that we're able to share with you. We did it with one of our dads. Autism Tree dad, Ted Frank. And I'm going to put, Lupe, can you put somebody on mute? There we go. Awesome. So one of our Autism Tree dads does this for a living. He creates videos, and he helped us create this incredible video. It's only 2 minutes in honor of our 20th anniversary year, and it covers our 4 core values: embrace, connect, empower, create. So we'll show that next. Oh, I can't hear anything.
Hold on. Okay. Yeah, okay.
And now we have focused our process into 4 core values: embrace, connect, empower, and create. And we embrace every family with love and acceptance. Before Autism Tree, we felt lost. We kind of felt on an island of our own, and we didn't have anyone that really understood us. Whenever we've gone to events, he feels embraced. He feels like he's at home, and his guard goes down and he's himself. We connect them to a community of resources.
I can remember how confusing it can feel and overwhelming. And to be able to say to a parent, you know, I've been there, you're not alone, and help a parent see the value of who their kid is beyond the word autism.
We empower them to create the best version of a future for their child.
Music really does help me to express myself. Felt empowered when I was a liaison in the San Diego Symphony.
And create organic relationships, meaningful opportunities, and lasting friendships.
Part of my love and excitement over Autism Tree is, you create this massive umbrella where all these like-minded people, all these wonderful kids who all kind of have a similar but different approach, and give them an opportunity to, explore and enjoy.
The idea of the navigating neurodiversity is exactly for those families that are in crisis position, is to have someone say and help prioritize and say, to help your child, do this first, because this will unlock these resources.
And we connect them with ABA providers, mental health providers, family counseling that might help them as a family. We also look at their IEP and the services that they're getting from the school to ensure that they're adequate. IHSS that helps families who a parent has to stay home and give up their career.
Our goal is to go big and, with your help, serve 200 families who deserve to create a brighter future for their child with autism.
Love it. So thanks for taking the time to watch this video with us. It was a great way we thought it was only right to kick off 2023 with our 20th anniversary video. It's on our YouTube channel. Feel free to share it, spread the word. We are just coming off our 2022 year-end campaign, and we're so grateful we were able to raise over $83,000 towards our programs and services that we provide at no cost to all of our families. And we're still working to raise funds to support our efforts in 2023 throughout this year and make it our best year yet. So if you didn't get a chance to contribute, there's still time. You can learn more at our the donate page on our website. But without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to our amazing guest speaker today. I'm really excited. Dana and I met Andrew, who's an autism self-advocate, last year in September, and we were just so inspired by his thoughtfulness and his intelligence, and he has this self-starting quality about him that he's just a go-getter, and I'm really excited to have him share and tell his story with us today. So thank you, Andrew, for being here. Oh, and fun fact, the Autism Tree, Dana and I and Lupe, we all made it our New Year's resolution for our Lunch and Learn programs this year in 2023 to have at least one autistic guest speaker every single month for this year. And so it's only right that our first guest speaker of 2023, our 20th anniversary year, is Andrew. So thank you so much, Andrew, for being here. We're really honored to have you as a speaker today.
Yep. Thank you for having me on here. I can't wait. So I guess we can get started.
Go for it.
Okay. So I'm probably going to go over, I guess, some of my work, I guess, and go over I just do a lot. Like I said, I kind of go together. Like I specialize autism community. I'm known as the driving guy, especially in Connecticut. Because in Connecticut, there's just not a lot of transportation resources for a lot of people. And with driving and kind of go over that. One of the things I found over time is just not only there are just limited resources depending where you live, but also there's not a lot of I guess service providers that does transportation. Like there's not a lot of driver rep specialists over there. So that's kind of one of the things I aim with my work is to kind of create like awareness and know that is just something that's just around there and it doesn't really have to be this way. So a lot of my work just that's kind of geared towards young adults and just kind of find themselves in the world. That's kind of what I specialize with. But I did one of the work I did for driving with autism, and even with that, I did other work. I was with Playing Across the Spectrum for a couple of years, and that kind of taught me a lot on a lot of the other. Was introduced to so many different organizations. Like I connected to A&E in Massachusetts and several other organizations throughout the whole country. So it kind of showed that it's not like it's kind of a universal, like a new set of universal problems when it's one that's kind of fixed. So there's a lot of experiences I had over the last couple of years. So
Awesome. I know Lupe has a few questions that she would love to ask you, Andrew. And to give context, a little bit more context, I have a question. When did you start? You're the founder of Driving with Autism. When did you found that?
December 2021.
Awesome. So Lupe, do you have any questions that you want to ask Andrew?
Yes, I do. Do you have any tips for any autistic adult or any parent that is trying to teach their child with autism to learn how to drive? Is there any helpful tips that you could give them on like the first steps?
Part of the first steps is it's to kind of search out providers and also kind of just start looking at stories, like and also just kind of resources. There's some really good websites, and I can actually put some on the Zoom chat here. I think it was a Zoom chat if I can. Oh, there it is. I would probably search because these websites. This one's one of the associations for driver rehab, and let me get you the website while I'm here. It lets you search up certain providers in whatever in all 50 states. It's a good resource. So I'll be posting the links onto the Zoom chat here. So here, and they also have a week done. Oh wait, it's a one. Oops, my bad. What I'm supposed to mean is either one, but if anyone happens to be over there, cool. Let me send you a light Zoom link. So my apologies.
No worries. And we also send out a recap email to everyone to
There it goes.
register.
That's better. Use the second week. Definitely use the second week. It has like a search bar lets you search up driving providers in all 50 states. And I'm trying, and I actually recently wrote on their newsletter. They have like a little newsletter. I actually wrote an article over there. So yes, I'm hoping to do a bit more with them because they do a lot of work, and if they can get more exposure, that'd be great because driving challenges are kind of not just troubles in Connecticut, they're kind of all over the country. So
Mhm. And when did you start driving yourself?
like 2018, 2017. Currently I have about 4 years of driving experience.
Okay. And how long did it take you to prepare before you started feeling comfortable to be able to drive?
I think like several months, and I did like attend driving school. It was more like a normal driving school. It was kind of before I got more knowledge about the specialty driving schools that exist, adaptive driving schools. And that kind of took a while. I think I want to say estimate as a month. I want to say 6 to 8 months. 8 months did that because you have to get used to that. And then it wasn't until I kind of started more just kind of designing my own driving routine just so I can get more experience to kind of stay with me instead of being in the mercy of only practicing on the weekends.
Oh, yeah. And then kind of goes off with what you mentioned earlier. What were a few challenges that you noticed while you were trying to learn how to drive?
One that's kind of more me is just I didn't have the best schedule time. I was forced to drive on the weekends, which doesn't give you a lot to work with. And then other ones including just getting used to the motions of driving. Yeah, because you have, and also just people in general, other drivers in general, for that's kind of a daily occurrence.
Kind of a fun one, but is there a place that you would like to go visit now that you know how to drive? Is there a place like or state that you really want to go take that little road trip to?
If this was last year, I would say Tavis Tavern and Watertown, Mass. If this was before September, I would say that. But I did drove over 2 hours to get there from Connecticut to there, no Mass Pike. So I planned that trip and hold off because I'm a huge Bar Rescue fan. So hearing the host opening up his own restaurant over there is just, how could I not? But for 2023, for that one, I do have a good answer. And let me actually get the name before I get it wrong. It's like a pinball museum. Let's see. I think it's called. Let me get the right name so I don't come off as I don't know anything. There was like a pinball like video game museum in New Hampshire. Classic Arcade Pinball Museum. It's again over there, so it's like a place it's a Tennessee. Oh, it's Tennessee. Yeah.
Tennessee. And for
Okay,
context,
much better. American Classic Arcade Museum. Okay, much better. Much better. Too many places. Too many places. This is obviously the closest one. It's a place like I would always want to. Like I always wanted to go over there. I just decided to wait until late spring. I don't want to deal with any of the animals, with the deer and the bear, maybe bears. But mostly the deer, and because I have no New Hampshire driving experience, so I feel more comfortable for myself going into the springtime when trying to do it right now, just because I'm not too familiar with up there. While Mass, I'm a lot more familiar with. So that would be a place I would like to go, but also depends on other things. I'm kind of searching new opportunities, so trying to go a little easy lately. So
I love it. That's so exciting. So you're in Connecticut. So how far is the drive to the American Classic Arcade Museum?
uh,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it must be over 3 hours. And let me actually check this on Microsoft thing. Let's see what they say. Uh, let's see. Yes, I'm multitasking. And I probably have to change around because they don't have to. Oh, they do have overvoid tolls. It looks like it'll be about over 3 hours. It looks like about 4 hours, but I might make that to an exception. The Watertown Mass trip with the John Taffer place was about 2 hours, a bit more doable.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I'm always kind of looking for ways I can kind of still increase my drives. I want to do the city still, just not my thing. Like New York City, Boston, yeah, probably not. And then some cities I will make an exception on. Worcester is a mass city I kind of like. And also they have some cool places over there. And I have some couple of cheat sheets that I go over there. Some routes I go that I don't have to go on the mass pike. I'm not a tolls person. So if I'm able to avoid trying to deal with it, it makes me happy. I'm also too lazy to get an e-pass. They call it e-pass here for tolls.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. We have something similar. I forgot what it's called, but I avoid tolls too.
For us, it's a fast track, but yeah, same level. I have another question. I did see, I was doing a little research. I saw that you were trying to earn your degree in psychology. How are you trying to apply that degree into like, I know you're a self-advocate and like, how are you trying to implement that in your career?
I guess probably the same way because I have an associate's degree for a school called Manchester Community College in Connecticut and associates in disability specialists. I just gonna use that just to answer that. It's just pretty much just a good way to get into schools. Same thing with psychology, very similar, except psychology. I do have another goal as well. To earn some certain certificates. You have the undergraduate, I think, graduate certificates as well. And in my state, there's something called a transition specialist one. I saw that a school nearby offered that. And because of me, I work a lot with transition aged individuals. I just think it just seems like a logical thing for me to get. And then autism is type 1 is no surprise. I just need a bachelor's. I need an actual bachelor's to have, and I can't use 29 years of experience. So I have to have the professional end as well as the personal. So
Mhm.
I like to joke about that. Even at all the interviews I've done recently, I like to joke about it.
I love it.
Um, to Andrew from Lindsay, what was the hardest part of learning to drive for you?
If just kind of getting over the anxiety, kind of getting over anxiety, because a lot of anxiety from myself and my dad, which that kind of made the first. No offense to any parents, I already see some reactions from a couple of the parents here. It's kind of just a normal. I think it's like one of those normal thing that does happen to anyone, autism or not. For with autism, you have a bit more extra things to think about. But is there anxiety just kind of knowing that and then just know, and it's probably more apparent. I actually kind of go over this in the driving series I did a while back, which is how kind of like how to kind of get parents to be at the point where they could be okay, or at least know what exactly how it looks like. Because years ago it was a lot, I think it used to be much worse where people just don't know what it looks like. So it's just kind of like not pleasant. I just see a comment. Yep. Yeah, it's also on Pluto TV. It's video free, and I think might be doing a new season this year. We'll see. I just want them to do another Connecticut location just so I can try it. Hopefully they won't, but they actually taking the advice. Because when you see places that don't follow on the suggestions, it raises some eyebrows, even if you have that morbid curiosity in you. So something Gordon Ramsay, like I wish I should have visited that one Connecticut restaurant he did in one of his shows, but it closed. It was near a library, so rip. But the hardest part was anxiety, and then just establishing a driving routine. Because if you don't have that, you're not gonna get very far in the driving. Like you don't have a way to create a routine so you can get experience and be able to go on to the next steps. That if I didn't know exactly how to make use of the weekend trips, the weekend drives I did so I can get my license, I maybe still be taking buses, maybe. I'll be in the mercy of the buses post-COVID. I don't know how that may look like. But I'm still kind of here I am. So
Kind of going off that question, is there anything that helped you with your anxiety while driving? Is there anything like any tips that you have or anything that helped you kind of?
again, just gadgets and just knowing, like routine, you just have to know. Routines, like you just have to kind of know exactly what for and have like those little tools. I call it sensory tools. I listen to a lot of Pacific music, video game music. I also listen to some Hollywood movies while I drive. Like video adaptive forms. There's no visuals. Thankfully, no visuals. And then some occasional musicals as well. Sweeney Todd being one of them. And for any trips that may go a bit longer, I may play something like Anastasia. It's a native musical here in Connecticut. It came from Connecticut right before it hit Broadway. So,
Cool.
so I was valuing the tools, the sensory tools, like they could do a world of difference.
Yeah, totally agree. Sensory tools. From Jeff, it says, "Glad to see that you're a bar rescue fan. I've
Yep,
been months now."
yep, I addressed it before when I was mentioning that. So, yep.
I love it. Yeah, Jeff is also a self-advocate for everyone who hasn't tuned in. He's been in almost every single one of our lunch and learns, and he's based out of Massachusetts. So I love that you guys have that in common. But I love that you have that to relax yourselves. You listen to music, making it an enjoyable experience, right? That's what it should be.
It gives me like a hyper focus. It kind of gives me more of a hyper focus, right? Regardless of what mood I'm in, maybe it just works. Even if it is watching Sweeney Todd. So listening to Sweeney Todd, the Broadway one. Maybe the Tim Burton one, but I don't have the CD or the MP3 files for that. So I just I just have someone did a bootleg of the very one of the first showings of Sweeney Todd, like 79. And surprisingly, the audio is very reasonable, so I'll take that. If it's not listenable, it just I would not understand the words and I'd be lost completely. So, and I still get to hear the genius and all the just the amazing songs they do in that musical.
That's one
The
of
only thing
my.
the only thing I don't like is the bell, the kind of the bell that they have, that whistle. No, wait, it's a whistle, the factory whistle that they do various times in the musical. Have that in like full volume. Not pleasant. I'd be okay with it in person and musical. I would love to see it in person. But if it's like in a car one, I always had to turn it down just because it's loud. It's rightfully loud when it makes sense, but in driving, yeah, I'm not gonna try. Even if it's the famous part of that musical, but
What are some of the other sensory tools? You mentioned sensory tools. What are some of the other tools that you use besides the music?
I'm kind of two. I guess one is kind of mental, but the other one is technically more of a plush because I'm video games. I actually have a plush fun. This it's a series called the Near series. Actually, I have a plush of one of the characters hanging on the rear window. It's just something that works. And while driving, I I usually drive two hands in case I wanted to get pet the plush. I just kind of drive one hand and just do a quick little tap on the head, and then I will go back to two hands. I'm more of a two-handed driver on the steering wheel.
Me too.
And because I like the character, it's also like a positive like association. That and coffee in my case, iced coffee.
Mm, I love
And I
that.
also save those for more more bigger trips, or if I just feel like stopping somewhere. One of the things that's been keeping me sane the last month or two. I actually grabbed Starbucks at a gas station right after I did something an hour right before I got in here. So hopefully it'll keep me by because I also have to do something else at 7. So 7 p.m. Eastern time. So should get me by. I already hit my coffee limit for today, so don't want to go over.
What are some of the you mentioned creating a driver's routine is really important. What are some of the steps that a family needs to take to create a driving routine?
Is your schedule? Like for me, I was forced to use weekends. And the other one is places. Like you need places to drive to. I used a lot of video game stores and I had the occasional Saturday job I used to had years ago. And it was something because I wanted, yeah, because I kind of wanted to get more experience right before I graduated with my associates. It was kind of like it was kind of like a perfect opportunity to use it as a driving way. It was a good 30 minutes of just kind of driving the back roads and some main roads as well. So so if you don't have places, like you'll not get a live experience. And it doesn't have to be the most it doesn't have to be work, or even doesn't even have to be school. Like even if it's just going to a Starbucks every day. Oh, select coffee places because Starbucks can be a little pricey. But it could still be the most simplest places. Like I can care less if it's McDonald's as well. Like if McDonald's or even Wendy's, if those places end up just doing it for you, it counts. It's a place you care about. And if you can get a routine around that, provided I leave all the eating habits up to all of you, but it's like something that works for you. And it's not like you have to buy anything. You just drive there and just drive out of the parking lot there. It's something that works for you.
Mhm. I love that.
Just whatever just gets you out, pretty much. And the extra motivation in case you want to go buy a video game, that's another plus. Because it works in legit.
Okay. Um, I have a question. Is there you know like a number, a certain number of like how many people have you taught to drive, or how many people have you guided to learn how
I'm
to?
guided probably like I want to say it's hard to say because I did a lot of this for several years, in person in Connecticut and then a lot of virtual since 2020. Man, it's hard. I know the driving of autism. I think I did classes for about 10 people total, or over 10. And then webinars, it can vary. Some webinars can have like a small crowd, others will have a lot of people, so it can vary. And that was even before I used to did work for a driving school in Connecticut. I did some work, helped out with their program before I kind of switched out and kind of did something on my own, which was driving with autism. So I would say in terms of how like work kind of gained interest, I would be surprised if it was over 100 people, 100 or even more, a lot more people. So
That's amazing. And since you did it virtually, did you start helping a lot of other people in different states?
I'm open to do consultations, and I have some projects since there's been a lot of changes lately. I've been having a lot of yeah, I'm just kind of working on a couple of things because I still like to continue certain aspects. So stay tuned on that one, and maybe a bit more announcements. Might be an announcement on Drawing with Autism. So just a lot of reading around while I'm in this transition phase.
How can people follow you? Do you have a website for Driving for Autism or social media?
There is a website, but if you want more like consistent, want more consistent like information of the stuff that I'm most likely to price, I'm currently right now, I just recommend people that go on my LinkedIn page. Yeah, that's probably the best way for right now. And then I can also have my Gmail here as well. I just posted my website, and I can also put my Gmail in case people have some immediate questions or just comments. So I'm posting that there too.
Thank you, Andrew. And like I was saying before, we do send out a recap email to everybody who registered, and it has the links to all of these resources that Andrew has generously gave us. So now I feel like it would be a good time to take any questions from anybody here. I know we have quite a few parents. And maybe this is the time, this is a favorite part of my Lunch and Learns, when we get to the time to connect one-on-one with the guest speakers. So we welcome you to unmute yourselves and say anything. Norma says, thank you, Andrew, for all the links.
Thank you.
Love it. Does anybody have any following questions? I know we have so many, we have about 200 teens in our teen time program, Andrew. So there's a lot of young adults who have, learned, who want to learn how to drive. Chris says, thank you so much, Andrew, for sharing with us.
Thank you.
I'm kind of curious, Jeff, I would love to hear your thoughts, because I know that you take public transportation most of the time. Is that right?
Yes, I do take public transportation, mostly through disability services when I go to and from work, and then I also, of course, travel by myself quite a bit. So, but yeah, I mean, like I think there's a fact that a lot of people don't drive and would much rather take transportation, other forms of transportation, but that's that's their call. But if they really want to get that independence that they so crave in terms of getting around and stuff, I think maybe learning how to drive a car may not be a bad thing. And some people may think that driving a car is mandatory, and it's not. You can it's really up to the individual to decide for him or herself whether or not she wants to drive. And there are maybe some individuals who are very nervous, and they would much rather not drive a car. And there's probably some people that are being pushy or nagging towards the individual to drive, and that's again creating more harm than good. And because driving can you can either be a responsible driver, or you can end up losing your life in something. And I think that might be a little hard for neurodiverse individuals to understand. So that's just that's my 2 cents right there.
Yeah, thank you. Good thoughts. And again, it really just depends on people. So yeah, well said. So public transportation
you.
is still important. And
Thank
I've
you.
seen a lot of different cases. I'm also very thankful with Echo Autism. Doing it with the Anderson Center. I get to hear a lot of different perspectives, and it's like always a good reality check because everyone's completely different on the spectrum. So it's always kind of important as everyone has different needs. So
Mhm.
yeah, but again, well said.
Tell us more. I know you were telling Lupe and I but on the pre-call, but tell the audience more about the Echo Project and what it
Okay,
is.
okay, it's okay. How to say? And I also post the Anderson one. This is kind of what they kind of generate offer. It's kind of like it's its own business one, but it's something that kind of came up that was developed in the University of New Mexico, and pretty much it's like a virtual network for a lot of different professionals to be able to kind of reach out to schools or organizations in the Pacific states just to kind of go over the best like evidence-based practices and what kind of practices can help Pacific students. I'm on there. They were looking for a person on the spectrum to kind of be on there, and they saw, and I always knew from them like years ago. So I was able to get in there, and it always teaches me a lot. So I'm posting a link. They do this in all 50 states, so there's a Echo Autism is also its own thing. And let me actually get the site for that too. So it helps kind of bring a lot of those practices to local places, especially in the roots areas as well. And you're able to look up the Pacific Center too as well. It's something I got into last year and I was not expecting it, but it ends up being one of the best things I've done. And also allows me to finally do some work with the Anderson Center. I always knew about it, and I'm only like an hour or two away from there, so it just gives me that good opportunity.
It's amazing. Thank you, Andrew. I also have to bring it back to, I know a lot of parents will watch this, and parents who might have their teen who wants to start driving. You mentioned a little bit about how you helped in your driver courses consults, that you kind of helped the parents and kind of supporting they're changing their mindset maybe, or how would you, what other tips would you give to parents who have a kid with autism who want to start driving? And I know a lot of them are, nervous, and it can be kind of scary taking on that journey. So what other tips would you give to parents, or advice you would give to parents on how to best support their teen who wants to drive?
I guess like creating a good environment. Don't kind of skip the basics. For driving, that's one. But like nothing's wrong with parking lots. Please go in a parking lot. And like that's not because I heard some places, not like parents, but I heard some places take people out to the highway already, and that's just a big, that's like a big no. Especially around here in Connecticut, but Connecticut has some horrible highways, so not a good idea. So yeah, just create like just a kind of like a safe one, because there's a good chance that your loved one might be just as anxious as you are. But I don't want to assume, because again, everyone's their own individual, and I'm no parent, so and I can't pass off as a parent. I'm clearly not a parent. So again, just creating a good environment, and then just be able to pick up on the crews, pick up on those. There's like little crews of how I guess the person is feeling, going from there and kind of reacting appropriately, and not, hopefully not over the top. But again, it depends on the circumstance as well. And also just knowing your person is also very key for obvious reasons. Like you're the best person that knows that person. So
what was your journey like with, you said your dad was involved. What was that like? What was your relationship? How does he feel about you driving and everything?
nowadays, he's fine. He's still sketchy with me going longer trips. He thinks like an hour in the coastline in Connecticut is a bit too much, despite me driving in Massachusetts several times. But it's kind of one of those things, just parent anxiety. He is a lot calmer about it, and he kind of tells me that I've just been doing really consistent, so I can't complain, and I haven't got any accidents, so that's also another plus. He just tells me whatever weather's weird, like big rainstorm or winter weather, because in Connecticut it's like like that state around the East Coast in New England is like a magnet for snowstorms. So he just gives me a little heads up like that, either that or accidents, also a thing. So
That's great. Love it. Any other last minute questions from anyone else on Zoom? We had a great group today. All right. Well, if that is it, well, if you have any lingering questions, you can always feel free to reach out to Andrew directly on his email that he put in the chat, or you can email us, Rebecca B at autismtreeproject.org or Lupe at Autism Tree Project, and we will forward your question to Andrew. Follow him on his LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, I'm sure Andrew would love to answer them. So Andrew, what is, do you have any New Year's resolutions for the year?
Oh, I guess kind of finding something new while I'm in this transition phase. So there's that, and also go to that arcade museum, another one, but we'll see on that one.
I hope you're able to go into spring season. Miguel said, thank you so much, Andrew, for your time today. And then
You're welcome.
Said, thanks, Andrew. And as our lunch and learn tradition, we would end up with a group photo. So if you would like to share your screen and see everyone's faces before we take a group photo, that would be wonderful.
Our first one of 2023.
Our first one of 2023.
Love to see your smiles.
And then Karen Wright and Jeff said, great job, Andrew. And then thank you, Andrew.
Oh, thank you.
I
love it.
So if you want to share your screen, I will take a quick photo before we end off this first lunch and learn. Thank you for sharing your screen. 1, 2, and 3.
Cheese.
Good measures. So, thank you everyone for coming. I really enjoyed Andrew's talk, and we hope to see you at our next lunch and learn.
Yeah, we host these every week. So thank you, Andrew. We're so honored to have you be our first lunch and learn for 2020.
Thank you.
Have a great week, everyone.
Yep, Bobby, have a good one.